In just 7 years, the SaaS or software as a service industry has grown from $31.5 billion to a quite frankly incredible $171.9 billion. And by 2024, just a couple of years from recording this video, it's on track to reach over $369.4 billion. It's insane, the numbers and the revenue that's coming from the SaaS space. And so with all that said, for sales reps like you and I, the writing is on the wall. No matter what you're selling today, you're going to be selling SaaS in your next sales role. And for you, my friends, that is a great thing. Today, we're going to talk about why this is important and what you can do to take massive advantage of this incredible sales industry shift. Hi, my name is Will and I make selling simple. Now, whether you realize it or not, SaaS, software as a service, is the future. And that's why in today's video, we're going to talk about what SaaS is and how it differs from traditional products and services that you might be selling. Then we're going to take a look at why you're probably going to be selling SaaS in your next sales role. And this is because companies all over the globe in all kinds of different markets are making a shift to this model of doing business. And finally, and perhaps most importantly for you, we're going to cover why this shift is great for you as a sales professional. And then we're going to break down why selling SaaS products can mean a seriously successful future for any sales rep. You ready to do this? Well, let's go and kick some SaaS. So let's get real here. The job you have right now, well, you're probably not going to stay in that role forever. Businesses go under, goals and organizations and market needs change. And of course, salary objectives are going to shift as well. That's all okay. That's all fine. The average person, whether they're in sales or not, will change jobs between 5 and 7 times during their career as well. What matters though is how prepared you are for that next role. And as a sales professional, it's incredibly likely that your next position is going to be within a SaaS organization. So in order to make that transition as smooth as possible, so you can get ahead of the game before you get started, you owe it to yourself to find out what this industry and this marketing mechanic is all about. So let's start with the most basic of questions, right? What the heck is this SaaS stuff about anyway? Well, SaaS is short for software as a service. Basically, it's a model where businesses license software, tools, hardware, whatever it is, to their customers in exchange for a subscription, be it yearly, monthly, quarterly, whatever time frame that they're working on. So even though it's called SaaS in a lot of cases, it might be that you are leasing a car over a series of monthly payments. It could be that you are selling a hardware service as well. We still call it all SaaS typically. The benefit of SaaS in its traditional sense as a software tool is that customers don't need to receive and install a CD or USB thumb drive. They don't need a technician and a crew to come in to install your software on their internal servers. They don't need to engage with any cumbersome physical onboarding. The connection to the software is on demand, and with just a few clicks, customers can start using the product or service that is being sold. Think of apps like Dropbox, HubSpot, or cloud-based services like Microsoft 365. The best analogy here is the difference between Blockbuster, where you'd have to go into a shop, pick up a DVD or even a tape back in the day, take it home, watch it, and then return it. Along came Netflix, which is a software as a service model, and you just sign in and you've got access to all of the films, all of the time, from any location. And of course, it's way more convenient and less faffing around to get the same job done, which is watching your film. So that leads us on to the next question. Why will you be selling SaaS in your next sales role? Well, to put it simply, companies across the world are making a shift to this model because it offers some very lucrative benefits for them. First off, over time, it brings in much more revenue than a capital first approach. And it brings in consistent revenue, which is what shareholders like to see. Because a SaaS model is built upon reoccurring subscriptions, if the customer doesn't cancel their subscription, they're going to be billed again and again and again. And as long as they want the product or service, they're going to be billed for the next 25, 30 years. And that means way more revenue than just a one-off price. And if you compare this to the traditional model of doing business, where default is that the person purchases, perhaps they get some support, and then they have to purchase the new upgrade, the offering in the future. Well, just think of all the hard work that goes into getting that next sale, getting that upsell. Apple have got to sell you one phone, and then 2 or 3 years from now, they've got to create a brand new product to sell you the next one. That's a lot of effort and resources on their part. But as long as a SaaS company is keeping its buyers happy, most people won't go through the hassle of cancelling. And given our human tendency towards the path of least resistance, that often means that SaaS companies will bring in way more cash compared to traditional sales models over the longer term. SaaS is great in the marketplace for the organizations who are selling it because it also allows for automatic upsells. So a SaaS product, and you'll have experienced this, typically has multiple tiers to choose from. The more you pay, the more functionality and features that you get access to. And even BMW are doing this at the moment in certain markets. They are selling cars that have heated seats fitted, but customers need to pay a monthly subscription to have that feature turned on. And if they don't pay it, that feature gets turned off. I think that's a little bit weird with the hardware world of cars and that side of things, but again, this is the way that everyone is going. And this is useful for you if you're selling SaaS, because as your customers' needs change over time, hopefully they're a growing organization, they're growing and they're expanding, well, they can seamlessly choose to upgrade to a brand new tier. No searching for a new provider, you don't have to compete against the competition, no going through a whole lengthy, long sales cycle to get another deal, another contract done. Instead, you can engage with them, explain the benefits of moving to that next tier. They make the switch with a click of a button, the billing changes, and you get a commission payment on the back of it. It's pretty cool, right? And just for context here, the final reason that organizations are all moving towards this SaaS model is because it values their business much higher than if they're doing capital one-off payments. Why are companies valued more when they have recurring revenue? Well, there's two reasons. First off, SaaS is expanding. It's cool, it's trendy, people want to buy SaaS companies, and businesses evaluate it against trends oftentimes. Secondly, this might be just above our heads a little bit as knuckle-dragging salespeople like you and I, but what we sell drives shareholder value, and shareholders love the opportunity of growth. It doesn't mean that the company that they're buying into is going to explode, but they want the opportunity to grow quickly and seamlessly. And SaaS and subscription-based companies could, at the flip of a switch, double in revenue overnight, and that's why they are valued so highly and probably appropriately in the marketplace right now. And this leads us into the next question of answering, why is this shift great? Not just great, like amazing for you as a B2B sales professional. What does all this mean for us individuals who have our boots on the ground, who are doing the hard work of getting deals done? Well, first and foremost, because all I care about really is making sure that you have success and getting money in your pocket, is that there's a real opportunity for long-term residual commissions. And if your mouth isn't watering already at the thought of that, well, it should be. Because many SaaS organizations reward their salespeople with commissions that continue over the course of a customer's relationship with the product or service. So if a client stays subscribed for 10 years, you're going to continually earn a commission for the lifetime of that client keeping on board with the organization and not canceling. So just imagine a single sale could lead to a decade of recurring payouts and commission bonuses for you. It's pretty sick, right? That's pretty cool. Of course, the skill here is that the better you sell the prospect up front and the better you look after them over time, the more likely they're going to be to stick around. So it's well worth putting the effort in up front, making sure that you're prospecting the right people and you're focusing on improving your skill set so that you can retain them over the longer term. The next reason why SaaS is so good for salespeople is that, well, it's a real easy closing cycle, because for SaaS products, most customers are going to get the majority of their information from automated funnels, webinars, ebooks, YouTube videos, articles, whatever it is. By the time you speak to a customer especially in the software space, but in other areas where they're doing subscription-based services as well, they probably already know what they want, what they don't want. You've just got to help them facilitate the deal in the first place. As a result, you don't have to do as much selling as what you have to do in traditional models. And when I say selling, I mean pushing, prodding, and with the old school traditional sales training model, manipulating people into getting deals done. You don't have to do any of that anymore with the SaaS model because the buyer is so educated by the time they speak with you. All you've got to do is answer the questions, do some consulting, and make sure that the deal is facilitated and actually gets pushed forward and happens. On top of all of that, implementation is easy most of the time as just a click of a button, and the ability to split the costs that would be this one massive capital outlay 10 years ago into a month-on-month subscription massively lowers the biggest barrier to entry for most buyers in this space, which is expense. And so, you know what that means? It means it's easier to get these deals done. All right. The final benefit that we're going to talk about today for selling SaaS is real clear selling points, because most SaaS products are, by their very nature, dependent on being online, being connected. And that dependence brings with it a few very clear selling points that you can use to nudge your buyer towards a yes. So, for instance, many SaaS products are designed to work in tandem with other solutions. And if the company that you're working for is smart, they've created these partnerships ahead of time. So, for example, HubSpot, they sponsor all the Salesman podcasts, they sponsor a lot of the content that we put out. Well, they integrate with literally hundreds of different apps to simplify automating your business, updating your contacts, and much, much more. The HubSpot platform on its own as a SaaS product is incredibly powerful, but these APIs or these abilities to handshake with other apps out there make everything just so much more complete. And this dependence on internet connectivity also allows for regular software updates and hassle-free cancellations as well. And these elements, just like integrations, make selling your product easier. Because just think of the sales pitch, right? Sam goes in, he's selling a CRM system like HubSpot, but it has to live on an internal server. Well, they've got to go physically into the account. They've got to look at the server. The server needs a RAM upgrade before they can get access to it because it's not powerful enough to run the tool. Then internally, this has got to be connected. You've got to get IT involved. You've got to go through all these steps. And it's one-off cost of 20 grand puts a lot of people off. Whereas if you imagine Walter, who's now selling SaaS, it's the same software, essentially, but it's running on an external server. And all the users have got to do, us salespeople, when we want to log into the CRM, is just type in a username and password, and we're in. We've got access to all of the value, all of the data, all of the process. IT are barely involved because the SaaS software provider, HubSpot in this example, takes care of everything. That's so much easier to sell, and the price is going to be lower because it's going to be a monthly subscription rather than a 20 grand capital one-off investment. So SaaS is here to stay. This software as a service business model, which can also be hardware as a service or consulting as a service, we just call everything SaaS at this point just to bundle it all together, is incredibly effective. It's where the future of sales clearly lies. And in all likelihood, you're probably going to be selling it in your next sales role because it creates way more revenue over time. It makes cross-selling a breeze, and it leads to higher business valuations versus pretty much all of the traditional sales models. So most organizations are moving towards this. For you, that means the potential of long-term residual incomes. We're talking not just weeks, months, maybe years or decades, depending on the software that you're selling. It means perhaps an easier closing process as well, thanks to the speedy implementation of getting the product in the door, initial lower costs. And if it's a tool that lives online, there's probably tons of blog articles, videos, and other content that provide a good overview of the software, the hardware, the tool before you even engage with the prospect. They're going to be already pretty much sold on the fact that they want to work with you. And with things like seamless integrations, regular updates, and hassle-free cancellations, SaaS really is the future of business, in which case it's the future of sales. So the more prepared you are to sell these kind of innovative solutions, the brighter your future in this B2B sales industry is going to be. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.